Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. What if the guy who spent the entire season trying to avoid violence finally decides that violence is the only way out? Because that's exactly where John Sugar finds himself in Season 2, Episode 7. And by the end of this episode, Vega is dead, Danny is finally safe, Sergey is gone, and Sugar has crossed a line that he spent the entire season trying not to cross. But the biggest question is, what exactly is happening with those mysterious four circles, Stanley, Senator Pavich, and Charlotte? Because with only one episode left, it feels like all these separate pieces are finally starting to connect. Sugar is running out of options. The episode actually opens with a scene that immediately tells us something has gone very, very wrong. We see a completely desolate road, with golf clubs and random debris scattered everywhere, until we find an overturned Bronco. Sugar's voiceover tells us that he tried. But some people simply live by violence, and sometimes that's the only language they understand. And then, right before the opening credits, we see a hand opening the door. That's it. We don't know who the person is yet, but the episode has already planted the idea that something terrible is coming. Then we jump back 2 days earlier, where Sugar is sitting around drawing four circles on a piece of paper while Tom tells him that he needs to put everything they've discovered about Vega into the system. But Sugar is starting to hesitate, because he knows that if he exposes everything about Vega, Danny could become collateral damage. And that's the problem Sugar has been dealing with all season. He wants to follow the rules, but the rules keep putting innocent people in danger. So instead of immediately going after Vega, Sugar decides he needs Sergey involved. And more importantly, he wants to check on Danny himself. Sugar goes to the jail and finally gets to speak with Danny. Danny hasn't slept much, but he's trying to keep himself together. He even jokes that he must be one of Sugar's worst clients, and Sugar tells him that's not true. But then Sugar drops the bad news. They're in trouble, and Danny's arrest isn't really about Danny. It's about G and Vega. Vega wants a trade, and Danny is the bargaining chip. Before Sugar can explain much more, the guards pull Danny away. Sugar tries to stop them, but there's nothing he can do. And that's when you really start to feel how trapped Sugar is. He can't simply walk into the police station and rescue Danny. He can't expose Vega without risking Danny's life. And he can't rely on the people he's worked with forever because the situation has become too dangerous. So Sugar starts looking for another way. The four circles finally make sense. One of the most important conversations in the episode happens when Sugar talks to Dr. Stanley. Stanley calls Sugar, and after talking about his parrot dying, Sugar finally admits something pretty important. He's not actually a tax attorney. Yeah, Stanley has been lied to this whole time. Sugar asks him about Senator Pavich's mysterious project and shows him the four circles he's been drawing. And Stanley finally explains what they actually are. They're not circles. They're tropospheric nodes. Basically, they're part of a technology that could manipulate the atmosphere and potentially help control the climate. And here's where things get scary. Sugar asks Stanley whether the technology can be used as a weapon. Stanley insists that it wasn't designed as one. The idea is actually supposed to help the planet and potentially change the world. But Sugar isn't convinced, because technology doesn't have to be invented as a weapon to become one. It can become a weapon depending on who controls it and how it's used. Stanley admits that he's afraid they're essentially playing God. He believes the technology could be necessary, but he's terrified of what people might do with it. And honestly, that's probably one of the biggest clues for the finale. Because if Senator Pavich and Henry Thorpe really betrayed Stanley, then this technology could be the bigger conspiracy sitting behind everything we've been watching. Sugar then goes to Sergey Ojeda, the head of the cartel Los Universals, and this isn't exactly a friendly reunion. Sugar and Sergey have history. Sugar did a job for him years ago, although Sergey jokingly says Sugar only completed half of it. But Sugar isn't there to reminisce. He wants Sergey to make Ray Vega back off and release Danny. Sergey asks the obvious question, what's in it for him? Sugar tells him he'll finish the old job, and for a moment, it looks like Sugar might actually have found a way out. He even calls Ray and tells him to release Danny. Sugar tells Ray that he can do whatever he needs to cover his tracks, but it's over. And then Sugar hangs up. For once, it feels like maybe this entire situation is finally under control. But of course, this is Sugar. Things never stay under control for very long.
Tom, Sergey's dead.
Sergey is dead. Back at his room, Sugar gets a call from Tom, and the news is terrible. Sergey is dead. His plane crashed, and there are no survivors. At first, it sounds like a tragic accident. Maybe the bad weather caused it. But Sugar immediately starts putting the pieces together. Diego wasn't on the plane, and that's when Sugar realizes something horrifying. Diego was the mastermind behind Fire Sale. Sergey is gone. Danny still isn't safe, and Sugar has only 8 hours before he has to meet Vega. Tom asks him what they're going to do, and Sugar's answer is simple. It's time for Plan B. And that little moment is basically the turning point for the entire episode, because Plan B means Sugar is done playing by the old rules. Meanwhile, G and Val are having a surprisingly emotional conversation. G admits that he's been making excuses for himself for years. He started using drugs after injuring his hand, and eventually the drugs just became part of his life. But Danny was different. Danny succeeding was one of the few things G could still feel proud of. And now Vega is threatening to destroy that too. Val doesn't let him off the hook. She basically tells G that he's acting like her sister, always making excuses and never taking responsibility. And then she gives him some advice. Sugar puts other people before himself. Maybe G should try doing the same thing. G calls her a terrible name, and she fires right back. Pause. But underneath all that arguing, something important changes. G finally decides that he needs to stop running away from his mistakes, and he decides to trade himself for Danny. It's the first real moment where G stops thinking about himself and starts thinking about what he can do for his brother. Sugar's last chance to save Vega. Sugar meets Vega at a diner and makes him an offer. Not a threat, but an escape. Sugar gives Vega passports for himself, his daughter, and his ex-wife. He gives him the deed to a villa in Playa Coronado, and even provides a bank account. Basically, Sugar is saying, walk away. And Sugar genuinely believes Vega can still choose a different life. He tells Vega that he was taught everyone starts out good and pure, but life can push people into making choices that take them further and further away from who they really are. And Sugar believes Vega can still turn things around. Vega actually seems affected by it. He remembers his father's reaction when he graduated from the police academy, and for a second, it looks like maybe Sugar has reached him. But Vega isn't ready to let go of Los Angeles. And then he asks the question Sugar doesn't want to answer. Where is G? Sugar refuses to tell him, so Vega walks away, and Sugar gives him one final warning. Last chance. Vega's response, you keep saying that, but I don't think so. And that's basically the moment Vega chooses his own fate. Vega leaves, but he's not actually done. He planted a bug with Sugar and Val, and he's listening. Eventually, Vega loses track of G. Then his phone rings, and it's G. G says he's tired of being a loser. He wants to trade himself for Danny. No tricks. No double crosses, just G for Danny. Vega agrees, and that's when the trap begins. Vega picks up Danny and drives him to the trailer where he believes G is waiting. But G isn't there. Vega searches the house with his gun drawn, nothing. Just G's car. So Vega gets back into the truck and tells Danny that there's been a change of plans. He starts driving away. Then the person in the back removes the bag from his head. And it's not Danny, it's Sugar. Pause. Sugar has switched places with Danny, and suddenly, that opening scene from the beginning of the episode starts making sense. Sugar finally breaks his own rules. The truck crashes and overturns, and Sugar and Vega crawl out and immediately start fighting. This isn't the controlled, professional Sugar we've seen before. This is raw, desperate, personal. Eventually, Sugar gets a seatbelt around Vega's neck and starts choking him. And as Vega struggles, Sugar repeats the words he's been saying throughout the episode. I told you. Vega dies, and Sugar survives. But barely. He's beaten, bloody, and completely exhausted. Then he looks toward the sky, and in the distance, Val arrives with G. Danny and G finally embrace. For a moment, Danny is safe. But Sugar has paid a huge price to make that happen. And that's what makes this moment so disturbing. Sugar didn't simply defeat Vega. He killed him. He manipulated him, tricked him, ambushed him, and then took his life. That's a huge departure from the Sugar we've known throughout the season. Back at his hotel room, Sugar watches the old movie Here Comes Mr. Jordan while taking apart his keychain. And then he realizes something. The keychain was bugged. That's how Vega was able to listen in. We then get a flashback showing exactly how Sugar pulled off the switch with Danny. But the episode isn't finished messing with us. Charlotte finds the paper with the 4 circles. She looks at it, and then quietly puts it back into Sugar's suit pocket. Now, is Charlotte just curious? Or does she know more than she's letting on? Because that's becoming a very interesting question. The fact that she notices those circles and doesn't confront Sugar about them feels very deliberate. With the finale coming up, I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte turns out to be much more important than we initially thought. Peg returns, and then we get one of the creepiest scenes of the entire episode. Sugar is sitting on the couch, drinking, while watching the movie, and suddenly, we hear Peg. She's sitting right beside him, except this time, we can see her face, and it's horribly scarred from the burns. She asks Sugar if he knows what this means, and Sugar says he did what he had to do. That line is important, because Sugar knows he's changed. Peg spent the previous episode reminding him of the rules. Don't kill. Don't manipulate, don't become like the people you're hunting. But Sugar just broke those rules. He tricked Vega, he set a trap, and then he killed him. Maybe he believes it was necessary, maybe it was. But that doesn't mean there won't be consequences. And the final conversation in the movie is almost like a mirror for Sugar's situation. What does it feel like to be with someone who genuinely cares about other people's happiness? Because that's exactly what Sugar has been trying to do. He puts everyone else first. But now we're seeing what happens when that philosophy pushes him too far. Our nerdy thoughts. So going into the finale, we've got a few massive questions. First, Diego. Sergey is dead, but Diego is still alive, and Sugar now knows he's connected to Fire Sale. So what exactly was Diego's role in all of this? And why was Sergey targeted? Second, Stanley and Senator Pavich. The tropospheric technology could be the key to understanding the larger conspiracy. If this technology can actually manipulate the atmosphere on a massive scale, then we're potentially dealing with something much bigger than a simple criminal conspiracy. And third, Charlotte. Is she simply becoming Sugar's love interest? Or does she have some connection to everything that's happening? The fact that she finds the 4 circles and quietly puts them back where she found them feels very deliberate. And then there's Sugar himself. Because the biggest mystery might not be who the villain is anymore. It might be, what happens to John Sugar after he's finally broken his own rules? For an entire season, Sugar has been trying to prove that there are better ways to deal with terrible people. But in episode 7, he finally reaches a point where he decides that sometimes, there aren't. And that could be the most dangerous change we've seen in him yet. So that's where we leave things going into the season 2 finale. Vega is dead. Danny is safe. G has finally taken responsibility. Sergey is gone. Diego is still out there. And the mystery surrounding Stanley, Pavich, and those 4 mysterious nodes is still very much alive. But most importantly, John Sugar isn't the same man we met at the beginning of the season, and I'm really curious to see whether the finale gives him a chance to come back from that, or whether this is the beginning of a completely different Sugar. What do you guys think? Is Charlotte hiding something? What exactly is Diego planning? And do you think Sugar went too far by killing Vega? Let me know your theories in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because we've got 1 episode left, and if episode 7 is any indication, the finale could get absolutely wild.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.